This small presentation is aimed at familiarizing you with some of the words and jargon that is used in the explanations of the GMAT official guide. The part 1 here deals with the sentence correction jargon, and the rest of the series 2 and 3 would naturally deal with the critical reasoning and the other sections of the test. It is very often that you see in the explanations of the sentence correction questions in the official guide that you see a word unidiomatic, and some of you may be familiar with it. And if you have been preparing on your own at times, I think it just requires some explanation from someone who has been into the GMAT for some time to understand what this terminology means. Unidiomatic. Now, idioms and phrases are typical to every language. English has its set of idioms, that means correct expressions that are part of the standard usage. Now, mostly when we say idiomatic, it would mean that conforming to standard usage. Now, study the sentence. The direction in which the Earth and the other solid planets spin was determined from collisions with giant celestial bodies in the early history of the solar system. Now, this is an official guide question, but I haven't used all the options here to save space. I've just given the original sentence and the correct form of the sentence part that is underlined. Now, the first look at the sentence, you would wonder whether you should use spin or spins. Now, see the sentence. It says the direction in which the Earth and the other solid planets spin. Now, one way is to look at the meaning and understand what spin. Is this the direction that is spinning or the Earth and the solid planets? Now, no doubt it is the Earth and the solid planets. So spin is correct because Earth and the solid planets together is a plural word. So then we see a prepositional phrase in which the Earth and the other solid planets spin. Now this can be kept aside for some time, and then you read the sentence, the direction was determined, is perfectly alright. But now the problem here is determined from is wrong. The correct expression is determined by. So the direction was determined by collisions with giant celestial bodies, etc., etc. So understand that unidiomatic, if it is given at the back, it means simply that it just defies standard written English. Syntactical problem. Now we all know that the language, any language has two elements, syntax and semantics. Now syntax means the arrangement of words, semantics means the meaning. Words are arranged to express a certain intended meaning. Now, at times, the sentence structure would take away the meaning of the sentence. Now, look at one sentence here. A firm that specializes in the analysis of handwriting claims from a one-page writing sample that it can assess more than 300 personality traits. Now, we do not see even the word groups. Now, you can see different word groups from a one-page writing sample. This is one word group. And claims and from a one page are not closely related. So which means that the arrangement of words, the syntax is faulty. Now the least we can do is to separate word groups using commas. So one way of modifying the sentence would be, a firm that specializes in the analysis of handwriting claims that it can assess more than 300 personality traits from a one-page writing sample. Now, that is one way of organizing the sentence, provided you have the freedom to do that. But here, of course, your freedom is restricted. You can only modify the underlined part. So the least you can do is, what are they claiming? They're claiming to be able to assess. But since the able and to assess are separated by the modifying phrase from a one-page writing sample, it's better that we put the two commas, which makes the sentence much more clear and orderly. So a syntactical construction, syntactical structure, etc., when the official guide uses it, means the arrangement of words in the sentence and the way it is constructed. A rhetorical construction, I think we need to be a little more lighter here on the word rhetorics. Now rhetorics, of course, means philosophical and flowery persuasive language. We don't have to go to that level when it comes to sentence correction questions, but we still need to make a distinction between what is intended to be expressed and the style of expression. Okay. Now, many a time, a sentence is given in such a way that we may find it difficult to understand what is the sentence emphasizing. Now, every sentence has something to convey. If you read this sentence, it has been estimated that the annual cost to the use of illiteracy in lost industrial output tax revenues is at least 20 billion a year. Are we very sure what the subject and the verb is? Now, after that, it has been estimated that there has to be a subject and a verb. Is annual cost that you're talking about? Or are we talking about illiteracy? So the main problem here that we're discussing is what is the cost of illiteracy to the US? And that is how we need to construct a sentence for effect and persuasion. Because if you are looking at the sentence in terms of bringing about this emphasis of how much illiteracy costs to the US, we need to present the sentence in such a fashion. Alright? So, if you were to replace this underlined part by the right construction as given here, that illiteracy costs the US at least 20 billion a year in lost industrial output and tax revenues. This makes it much more persuasive in terms of conveying the issue that has been discussed, that is the cost of illiteracy to the US. Now, syntax and semantics, as I was telling you, are the two aspects of a language. Now, semantics means meaning. We do not write a sentence just to use grammatical constructions, do we? We use a sentence to convey a meaning. And sometimes you see sentences with errors in which the construction is absurd in terms of its meaning. It can be misleading and it can defy common sense knowledge. Study this sentence. Although the term psychopath is applied to an especially brutal criminal, in psychology it is someone who is apparently incapable of feeling compassion or the pangs of conscience. When we say here it is someone, it, the pronoun, here refers to the term, because we're beginning the sentence with although the term. So the term is someone who is apparently incapable is by meaning absurd. So we can only convert this into a meaningful sentence if you change the construction, and you would see here a new word refers is introduced. It is a necessity, and we need to introduce sometimes words to make the sentence a little more clear. So it refers to here means the term refers to someone who is apparently incapable of feeling. So ensure that every sentence has beyond its structure a meaning to convey.